that needs to be considered is the cost of medication. You either have to be insanely poor or insanely wealthy to be able to afford having HIV. In my case, I was diagnosed as being disabled in 1997, and so Medicare pays for 100% of all of my medications. But HIV meds cost $2,285 per month. That's $27,000 a year. And since they have been working for me, I have cost, just in medicines, $388,000 just for medicines. That doesn't include the costs for doctors or lab draws or hospital stays. This is a very expensive disease, and and HIV monies are getting tighter and tighter all the time. So this is another reason not to get HIV. So when the medicines came out for HIV, it helped prolong our lives, and the scary death sentence part went away for a big part, but it didn't go away for everybody. My doctor said that because my immune system had dropped down to 11 T cells, that I would still always be susceptible to certain infections, because once you lose big portions of your immune system, some of those memory cells will never come back. And I found out that, when you don't have an immune system, it's pretty critical. It changes your whole life. My viral load has actually been undetectable since 1998. The most painful part about living with this disease was the year that my son had to survive being 7 years old. He was deathly afraid of what it would be like to be 7. He was afraid every day that he woke up. And he was afraid that before he turned 8 at some point, I was just going to keel over and drop dead from this disease. There was no way to keep this disease a secret. He knew that the disease was called AIDS. He knew that I got sick all the time, and he knew that it had the potential to kill me. So we were both really afraid, and it became important for us to hug and love each other a lot and to depend on just having hope and perseverance. And that is, in a lot of ways, no way that a child should have to grow up. But we survived through that year when he was 7, and the day that he turned 8 years old, his best birthday present, he said, was the fact that I was still alive. So changing gears, sex and relationships are a whole other ball of wax. Ironically, I have never had a guy be afraid of me or be afraid of having sex with me. And in the beginning, when I was first diagnosed and I told a guy, look, you don't want this, I have AIDS, go away. And I really wanted them to go away. Guys would just say, I'll wear a condom. And that always struck me as really interesting, because I thought, what if I didn't tell him? What if I kept it a secret? What if I didn't force a guy to wear a condom? And you have to think about that, because there are other people out there who aren't caring, aren't asking about condoms, and are sharing bodily fluids, and they're not caring about what diseases might be transferred. So I never had a guy be afraid, and I always made sure that that we used condoms, and especially also because I wanted to make sure I didn't get a secondary strain of HIV, because they're not all the same, and you can get more strains and it can make you more sick. And I didn't want any other STDs. So eventually my life became somewhat normal. I was eventually just kind of a normal single mom, raising her kid, taking care of her health. I became a public speaker. Although I had dropped out of college, I worked, and on the outside, I looked healthy. I looked normal. I didn't have people coming and walking up to me asking me if I had AIDS. I just looked like a normal, everyday person. I also had my family returned to me, who had abandoned me. I think my mom was just scared to find out how I was doing or where I was. I think she suspected that I was supposed to be dead at some point. And when I wasn't, I think she was just sort of surprised that I was still alive and still okay.